What is this?
Is full of cowards, but the left is just full of sick people.
Hold on, relax. Give me a second.
The right is full of cowards, but the left is just full of sick people.
It's true. A lot of people who are more progressive, they tend to be less healthy. That's why they're progressive. Because they want free healthcare. The more you know. Crazy stuff.
People will go at great lengths to politicize and weaponize a tragedy.
What does that mean? Explain that to me.
I want to address the leftists out there that think this is a gun problem. We've had guns here since the dawn of time, but
well, that's not true because we weren't created with the earth. But yeah, we have had gun problems for a long time, and we continue to have them. We just didn't care as much back then. But okay.
But only in the last 20 years have we had mass shootings.
I don't know if that's true. I don't think that's true actually at all. If you look into that. U.S. mass shootings, 1982 to 2022. So this has been happening for a long time. Okay, so we've established that. Donezo. Secondly, the argument of politicizing this problem. It's such a. I think it's kind of a very dishonest argument because we have a gun problem. We have a problem with mass shootings. Let's say, okay. And you're like, oh, so now that someone gets shot, you want to talk about banning guns? Now, I don't personally think we should ban guns, but we definitely need to implement more restrictions. You know, common sense gun laws. I would say a gun license comparable to a driver's license. When the fuck else are we supposed to talk about it? When else are we supposed to talk about it? What is a good time? There's never a good time. I've noticed this with some conservatives, okay? I understand a lot of people don't like Colin Kaepernick or BLM, blah, blah, blah. And there seems to be some credible evidence that the leaders of the BLM, like the legal organization, are kind of scummy people doing shitty things with the money. But fundamentally, BLM is an ideology that, there's systemic racism that's impacting black people, and it's fucking them over, okay? And then what happens? You have Colin Kaepernick kneeling. Now, I understand he came from, a white family, whatever. He's still kneeling. What is the argument? This isn't the time for that. It's not the time for it because you don't want to fucking hear it. We have a problem, and there's probably 100 factors as to why this is a problem. It's interesting because I talked to my mother, and she's like, I think video games are a factor. And I said, I disagree with that, but you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe video games are a factor. Maybe violent video games are normalizing violence. Let's say it is. Another factor is the media riling people up, creating incredible divisiveness and making people angry. That's also a problem. All right? You know what else is a problem? Probably wealth redistribution, or the way that wealth is distributed. A lot less people have less opportunity. They're angry at the system because money's getting funneled to the top, right? We have a lot of issues here. We have a lot of problems here. You can't fix them in a day. You can't. So now we have to look at what's happening. Well, we have kids dying. What do we do about that? You can't just say, we need, there's another problem. Oh, we have more broken homes, less religion. Okay, maybe that's true. We have more broken homes. You want to know why we have less religion? Because religion doesn't like gay people. It doesn't like fucking people. And they've been molesting fucking children in it. Why do you think people are turning away from religion? Oh, you're bad people. No, it's because bad people are destroying fucking religion. Okay, it's the same fucking thing that's happening across the world. There's so many different problems here. What's the best solution? No, I don't know, but we have to have a conversation. Personally, again, common sense gun laws, gun licenses, comparable to driver's licenses, 21 years old, stuff like that. That's where I stand. But you just want to be everything but the tool that was used to kill somebody. But the reality is, whether you want to hear this or not, if that tool wasn't in that person's hand, nobody would be dead. That's the reality. If he couldn't get those guns legally, he probably wouldn't have got them at all. And I don't think we should ban guns. That's a whole conversation. But it would probably help. Every other country that banned guns, guess what? They don't have a lot of mass shootings. It's an incredible thing. It's a very interesting concept. And again, I don't think that we should do it. I think that we need arms to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. I'm just saying these things would probably work. Okay? But it's never the right time. It's never the right time to talk about it because you're too sensitive. You don't want to hear that your perspective of doing nothing is killing people. That's why you keep saying don't politicize these things. But fundamentally, political discourse is what changes our environment and our atmosphere. Okay? You know, if a 3-year-old got, back when I was growing up, we used to be able to smoke inside of buildings. They had smoking and non-smoking sections. Let's say your 3-year-old got fucking lung cancer because you were in a smoking section. Let's say you loved smoking cigarettes and you're like, well, what are we supposed to do about it? Oh, now so a toddler gets cancer and dies. Now you want to talk about banning cigarettes? Oh, now you want to talk about doing this? Yeah, when the fuck else are you going to talk about it? You're seeing a very clear problem, right? And so guess what? We don't have, you can't smoke in buildings anymore. Now, I don't know if it's because a 3-year-old got cancer and died, but you get my point. When the fuck is the right time? When do you want to hear it? You don't want to hear it. Stop saying that you always want to politicize shit and start saying you don't want to hear it because you're sensitive and you just don't fucking care. Just say that you don't care about these people dying and you want to put it on to everybody else, everything else, but potentially the guns, which is a fucking huge factor. Okay? Because all these people that are like, oh, it's probably violent video games. Do you want to ban violent? Are you saying we should ban violent video games? Is that what you're telling me? Should we ban violent video games? Oh, no, I don't think that. Well, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Every single year, it gets more difficult to get a rifle, but every single year we see more mass shootings.
Where? Where does it get more difficult? What are you talking about? Where do you live? What are you saying? We have 50 different states with 50 different gun policies. What are you talking about? You just made a statement that's like non-verifiable. In Texas, all you have to do is be 18. You do a simple background check, which is not hard to pass. And boom, you're done. You can even finance the guns without a credit card. Every single year it gets harder. What was it like motherfucker, what was it like last year then? How easy was it in Texas to get a fucking rifle then last year? Every year it gets harder. The statement is not true. You're just saying a thing. You're not right. You are wrong. Like you're just saying a thing. If anything, gun laws are getting less strict because the NRA is a massively powerful fucking lobby group.
But please explain to me how this is a gun problem and not a mental health problem.
Oh my God, everything's dude, I find this really frustrating. Everything's like a mental health problem. But you don't give a shit about mental health, right? So like it's just a way to get out of punishment. It's a mental health problem. Okay, so are you an advocate for some kind of like universal like healthcare or access to healthcare for poor people? No, I'm not. Okay, so shut the fuck up. Even if it is a mental health problem, you don't give a shit. You don't fucking care. You're not interested in the solution.
And you sick bastards, the one that say how many children need to die before you give up your Second Amendment. All of them. Is that what you want to hear? Is that the sound clip you're looking for so you can dunk on the right-wingers?
You don't have to just ban guns. I've already made that clear.
Nobody's out to solve problems anymore. It's all about dunking on the political opposition. To the right-wingers out there saying maybe...
So if it was mental health problems, surely the statistics would match up. Yeah, no, they do match up. We do have significant mental health problems nowadays. There's a whole myriad of issues with that. There's a lot of different reasons for that. The politics of the media influence, politics being, I guess, more pervasive in the development of children, smarter kids, honestly, that are more self-aware and aware of their surroundings. There's a conversation that a lot of people are having kids later and more obese, and having kids at a later age. And when you're more obese, increases the chance of the kid coming out with like some kind of like neuroatypical in some capacity, and that disalignment from the normalcy or that way. That difficulty of aligning with society adds like a mental health factor and stressor. There's a ton of issues. There's so many. There's more than that. I guarantee you. There was like a study done. Increased mental health. Oh, Instagram. Fucking social media. Constant social media comparison. 100%. So then it comes like, okay, so what do we do about that? Are we gonna? What are we gonna do? Are we gonna make it illegal to have kids if you're fucking old and fat? Are we gonna make it illegal to have Instagram? Like, of course not, because that would be obviously wrong. So we have to understand that we have these different influential factors that are introduced into society, and we have to deal with the negative impacts of that. And if it's increasing the chance of kids dying, then, well, you're going to have to change the fucking law to accommodate that perspective or that real world reality. Okay? And one of the ways that this happens too is like the media uses social media, and like you go down these like weird radical pipelines. That's what happens because you get introduced to some content and people outrage is very profitable. You hit constantly profitable outrage content. Boom, 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 boom. You go farther right, you go farther left, you go to a more extreme position, a more hateful position. It riles people up, stresses them out, makes them angrier. It gives them like a target for their anger. All these fucking things are happening. But like these are not conversations that people want to have. They just want to say mental health. You just want to put it off on the fucking mental health. That's all people do.
Maybe it is time for gun control. Here's a PSA for everybody that doesn't seem to quite understand the purpose of the Second Amendment. Second Amendment's not for hunting. It's not for the range. It's not for self-defense.
Okay.
Second Amendment is leverage against your government. It's a dead man switch.
I understand it because I support it fundamentally. But we don't need nuclear weapons or grenades. There's clearly a cap on what we do and don't need. And I don't think that we should get rid of these guns in general. I think that we should make it more difficult to get. You should have to go through like an actual training type of a thing. You should have to interview a police. You should have to get a lot of these checks. I think that's a hot take. Okay, the world's changing. I like our amendments. They're really great. But like, do you honestly, unironically think that they were like, you had fucking muskets back then, bro? Like you get one shot per fucking minute. I don't know what to tell you. And the founding fathers weren't prepared for this massive technological advancement. I mean, there's something going on. Internet didn't exist. Things that were beyond their ability to even conceive didn't exist. These motherfuckers probably didn't even think that television would be a thing. Like they're like, what the fuck? They saw TV, they're like, what the fuck? How did you shrink those people? Like that's like, I don't understand. The nuance is like completely dead. And we don't need tanks or nukes to fight back against a tyrannical government. I think that we should still have our weaponry to defend, because the reality is the police aren't, I mean, the government's not going to nuke its own area, because that would be fucking dumb, right? But having the guns, I think, is a good idea. Being able to protest in the streets sometimes, as long as you have a gun license, I think these are necessary, right? And also keep in mind that the police force are people as well. And a lot of times, if the government gets too tyrannical, they're probably like, don't like that. Let's fight back against the government. You don't necessarily have to engage in a full-out war. It's just the threat of the ability to fight back.
Purpose of the Second Amendment is to live free or die. To the lefties, oh, you think you stand a chance against the military? No, I don't. I'm not stupid. Push came to shove, an AR-15 is nothing compared to an F-35. If it really came down to it, I do want to take away your RPGs. Once you get a 20 kill streak, though, then you get a tactical nuke. So. First,
is it 25?
Marine who was a decent shot would probably take me out. The point is that they would have to take me out, that I will go down swinging.
So, I mean, just not for nothing, by this argument, you don't need a gun, because you know you're going to die anyway. So you might as well just make it illegal, and you just run around with a fucking throwing knife, because it's just as effective with what you're saying. If anything, this kind of it communicates that we don't need guns. Yeah, I'm going to get taken by the fucking government anyway, but it makes me feel better to have my rifle. Okay. I'm just saying.
And most people are tired of saying that what happened is an absolute tragedy. When you hear the details of what actually happened in Texas, it's pretty tough to imagine. Even if I thought that abolishing the Second Amendment would somehow stop all school shootings.
Most people aren't talking about abolishing the Second Amendment. It's what is it called? Straw man? Your argument's bullshit. Red herring? I don't remember, but you know what I'm talking about.
I still wouldn't do it, because I'm not some emotional single issue voter. You can't just look at single issues in a vacuum. You have to look at them with respect to everything else. More kids die every year sniffing fentanyl than being shot by an AR-15, but you'll fight to keep that southern border open.
So first of all, people fight to make drugs illegal. Just a hot take there. I mean, the southern border is just like, listen, that's a whole other conversation. I just don't think it's practical to put a fucking wall on the southern border. I'm just saying. I don't think it's like super practical. Economically, I think I just don't think it would do what you think it would do. I could be wrong, but I don't think that that's a pragmatic solution, is putting up a massive fucking wall on the southern border. I'm just saying. You know what would have been a better idea? What is not allowing... do you want to know why people do drugs like fentanyl? Most of the time, it's because they started with prescription drugs and they start going down they're like, they can't get it anymore, and they go for other shit. That's really what happens. I'm just saying. But okay.
More Americans die at the hands of illegal immigrants, but you'll fight to keep that southern border open. So are you really about saving lives, or is it just about disarming your political opposition?
Well, hold on, just 1 second. I have to see something.
Americans die at the hands of illegal immigrants, but you'll fight to keep that southern border open.
So just so you know, most people aren't fighting for that. Very few lefties are doing that. Guess what? You remember the word? You remember what you called them? Illegal immigrants? They're not supposed to be here. They're illegal. right? So we have laws against these types of things. We don't want people here illegally. Also, the overwhelming majority of people who are here illegally, they come here legally, and then they just don't renew their visas. So like, I don't really think that you know what you're saying in a lot of areas. But the fundamental thing is that we do things to make these things not happen. Like, so, like, these things are illegal. We make steps to do these things. I just don't think a wall would be a practical solution to reduce illegal immigration. But, like, there's no solution really being presented for gun issues. You're just saying we should not even fuck with it at all. And then you're just like, yeah, but what about illegal immigrants? Like, they're not illegal. It's like, wow, fuck. What are you talking about? What the fuck?
Are you really about saving lives, or is it just about disarming your political opposition?
I think you're dumb.
After JFK, we beefed up security for politicians. After 9/11, we beefed up security at airports.
Okay.
All these tragedies throughout history, and we beef up the security at the places where they occur, except for schools.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable. What's your solution though? So what do you want to do? Armed guards, single entries? I think that's great too. I think that would be a great thing to do as well. Single entry points, obviously not single exit point, you fucking idiots. Stop saying, well, what if there's a fire? Of course there'd be multiple exits, asshole. Shut the fuck up. Okay, you shut the fuck up. And a teacher didn't prop the door open. The door was like broken. And that was weird. I read into it. It's my understanding. Okay. You want to put armed security there? I'm not necessarily against that. It's a little bit of an iffy conversation. But okay. I also still think that we need to implement like more common sense gun control.
380,000 unemployed veterans in the United States.
Is that true? I wonder if that's true. I'm just curious because this guy keeps saying things. How many Okay, let's see. 380,000. Wow. That's a lot of unemployed veterans. Wait, how are 5% 18 to 24? Wow, that's weird. Okay. I'm just looking this up. Let's see. The unemployment rate for veterans who served on active duty in the U.S. Armed Forces at any time as of September. Okay, 46%. Okay. So apparently, the unemployment rate for veterans is really low, 4.4%. Okay, lower than non-veterans. So there's actually a low. Okay, I'm just looking into this. So there's less unemployment in veterans. Okay. Interesting. I'm just skimming through this. Apparently a quarter of them have a disability because of the war. I wonder, I mean, I don't know how many of these but a lot of veterans are homeless because they end up coming back with really big mental health issues. Okay, interesting. All right, so let's see what we do with these veterans.
Most of them are working age, but a lot of them have problems because they feel like they don't have a place in society. They don't.
Maybe. I mean, I feel like this is a whole conversation to have about a lot of them having PTSD and maybe not being the most trusted with a gun. I don't really know. Just throwing it out there. I'm just saying. And you don't even necessarily have to face combat to hit PTSD, because I know the training can be really fucking intense. Just throwing that out there. But okay.
Don't feel like they have support, and they don't feel like they have a purpose.
I don't think that we necessarily need veterans to be the guards. Okay.
So maybe instead of sending $40 billion to fund a war on the other side of the world.
I hate this take. I hate that, like, oh, we shouldn't help Ukraine. Why? I don't understand, like, why does America mean nothing to you? I don't get it. Like, oh, hey, we have allies around the world to spread, like, our freedom to other countries. Yeah, I'm totally on that. One of our allies needs help. Fuck that shit. Why are we wasting our money helping other people? What? Shut the fuck up. Okay? Hey, instead of giving them $40 billion, we have, like, what's our military budget? Like $800 billion fucking dollars a year? How about instead of that new tank, we hire security guards? Like, we don't need to not fund these wars. Like, when Trump came in, he's like, let's get a bunch of new tanks and planes. Fucking for what? We didn't need half the shit that he wanted to buy. There's like a $50 billion surplus in the military every fucking year, and they spend it on bullshit, because if they don't spend it on anything, they lose their budget. But you want to sit here and be like, yeah, it's the fucking war in Ukraine. We shouldn't be helping them. Dude, shut up. What are you talking about? Meanwhile, you're talking about spending, I think the actual realistic estimates were upwards of $1 trillion on the wall. Trump was talking about 15 or 5 million or billion or whatever. Fuck that. The real estimates were like 800, 900 billion dollars after it was completed, right? Very lowball estimate. Okay, you're talking about a year of our military spending for the wall. Okay, just saying.
We're spending more money so that children can learn about their teachers' kinks. We could instead put 2 veterans
I'm obviously against talking to children about your kinks.
that are already well trained in every school that would happily lay down their lives to protect those kids. To me, and for the people, and for the veterans, and for the children, that sounds like a win-win. And to all the fucking British people out there, we don't give a damn what you guys got going on in England. Not one single damn. You gave up your guns and the government hasn't turned on you? Wow, that's because you're a domino and we are the first domino.
I tend to agree with that perspective. I've said that before. I think that's pretty much true to me. I think America, we police the world, especially our allies, and if they went out of hand, you know, we're still here. You know, that's what we do.
American right-wingers are the only thing keeping the entire world in check.
All right, well, now relax with that. Because even Dems are not like, there are Democrats talking about banning guns, but most like people who vote Democrat are not about, they're not like, let's just ban the guns. That's a very leftist take. Most people are not for banning guns. I would argue that. I wonder if there's a statistic for that. Let's see. I wonder what the research is. About half of people, 40% of Americans see gun violence as a very big problem. 53% favor stricter gun laws, but that doesn't mean banning guns. So there's really, I would argue most people are not for banning guns. Okay.
Maybe you can discuss that over your next tea and biscuits. I forgot to mention all the people saying this is a Republican problem because they're all in the back pockets of the gun lobby.
They 100% are. 100%. Republican senators, fucking lobbyists out the ass. That doesn't mean that Democratic senators don't have their own lobby problems. I'm saying, fucking NRAs, like, how much money did they give Ted Cruz? Like 300. I think Ted Cruz got a ton of money last year. 300 million. Am I saying, is it 300 million or 300,000? I think it's 300 million. 3 million. I don't remember specifically. Not all from the NRA, but a bunch of advocate groups. Ted Cruz NRA donations. Which senators have benefited most from the NRA? Let's see. Yeah, so like the NRA, they gave Mitt Romney like 13 million. You know, you can see the numbers are like millions of dollars. I don't know if Ted Cruz is even on here, but you get my point. Here's a list of a lot of Republicans who've gotten tons of money. I'm sure there's Democrats on there too.
First of all, the gun lobby's broke. And second, all those people crying about the gun lobby.
Wait, what did you just say?
Saying this is a Republican problem because they're all in the back pockets of the gun lobby. First of all, the gun lobby's broke. And second,
you have to have like you have to be kidding, right? You're kidding, right? The gun lobby's broke? He really said that. Is it 300K? Okay.
Lobby. First of all, the gun lobby's broke.
You have to be trolling at this point. The gun lobby is broke? You're just refusing to acknowledge a problem. You're an idiot. Holy shit. Bro, come on. You can't seriously say that the gun lobby's broke. They're full of money. What?
And second, all those people crying about the gun lobby won't say a word about what Big Pharma is doing to young people in America.
Yes, they will. This is a huge conversation people are having. What are you talking about? What the fuck are you saying? What? What are you talking about? We've been having this conversation for how long about how Big Pharma's fucking people over, especially with insulin. That's a pretty big lefty talking point, especially. I feel like there's a reasonable level of bipartisanship on this too, because Trump was trying to regulate costs of medications. What are you saying? What the fuck are you talking about? And I would argue, if anything, Democrats probably support drug regulation, like regulated prices, more than Republicans. Democrats probably support it more than Republicans. Insulin and opioids, 100%. What the fuck is this guy talking about? This guy is so dishonest.
So to all the anti-gun people, you're a liar and a coward, and you don't actually care about children.
This guy's a fucking idiot. I'm sorry, but he's just lying at the end. Yeah, you guys probably don't care about drugs, bro. You're. What are you saying? We've been having these conversations for so long. What are you talking about? You're just lying.
And to the few real men left out there in Western society, stay hard.
That was gay. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.